Hey guys, welcome to my rental that I'm renovating at the moment. And you probably think, what am I doing here? Well, you can always do badminton video anywhere. So someone asked me online of like, how can you practice your finger power and your squeezing so then they can get away from big swing to little swing. And I thought, I do this video here in my rental while I'm renovating, just to show some exercise that you could do actually at home. And if the more you can do this, especially at home, the more you're going to develop the instinct to squeeze rather than do big swing. And honestly, there's no quick fix around this. If you don't practice, you won't get away from the bad habits of a big swing. I have to open all the windows because I paint this oil base, seal it on the wall, and it stinks. So if I pass out, you probably know why, okay? So anyway, we're gonna concentrate on the forehand V grip and the backhand grip. So first of all, you have to practice the correct grip, but remember, you have to practice with a loose grip. So if you look at the forehand V grip, so if you watch, I made a video up here, a really detailed video about how to hold a V grip. So essentially you run your hand here, like this, but rather than having the bottom of the V go touch against it, you can bring it out a little bit and you bring it down. And by doing that, you're gonna have gap up here. Another thing that you know that you're holding a good loose forehand V grip is that your racket sits in the bottom of your finger rather than in the palm like this. So if you sit in the palm like this, then you find you don't really have that much gap to squeeze, okay? So learn to go on the fingers. Yes? So in the forehand, the best thing you can do at the moment, especially when you're not used to the finger power, is learn what I call chop. The Bing's chop system. So my name is Binh if you haven't figured out already, but apparently not many people use a chop system. So, or use the term chop anyway. I'll make a video about it later, but think about chopping. So if you were to hold a knife, when you chop, then obviously this is a blade, it has to go up and down, right? So that's why I like the term chop, because when you say chop, people know it has to be like this. So when you hold in a beautiful V grip like this chopping, you can either use the whole arm, which is bad. You can use your wrist, which you see here, where the finger does nothing, which is also bad. If you do this, you should feel a lot of stress in this part of the forearm. Yeah, and up here as well, actually. That's really painful. So essentially what I want you to do is from here, you can use the left hand if you want to, bring this racket up to vertically without moving the hand and without moving your wrist up either. So essentially what you find that in order to do that, in order to minimize this risk, you got to learn to allow these fingers to come out. And that will give you a beautiful space. And then from here, in order to do your finger power, you have to squeeze. So in order to squeeze, you basically squeeze with the bottom 3 fingers. So squeeze. And you can see that I'm pulling my 3 fingers. So right now, if I were to take away the index and the thumb, just by squeezing that 3 fingers, you're doing your chopping. But that's only one part of your power generation. You imagine that part there where the racket rests against it. That's your pivot point, okay? So when you pull these 3 fingers, you're pulling below that pivot point. Yes? So now if there's a way for you to push above the pivot point as well, then you have 2 forces acting in the same direction, so then you can get even more racket speed. So then how do you do that? Essentially, you're then going to use this bottom part of your index finger to push forward ever so slightly. And that's enough to really to help that. You see how my fingers? So if I was to do with 2 fingers only, essentially the index finger will push it forward like this. Okay? So then if you're able to squeeze the bottom 3 while pushing the index finger forward a little bit, you're able to have this beautiful, fast racket speed, that sound without, as you can see here, this is not moving, this is not moving. I'm letting my finger go without going like this. So don't do this, okay? So that's what I mean, always allow these 3 fingers to curl around your racket. And if you learn how to do this, you'll never lose it. It's when you start doing that, that's when you start losing your racket. So just learn to curl these 3 fingers around your racket. And from here, you're just learning to squeeze these down while pushing this part in the opposite direction. And as you can see, my wrist is not moving that much, is it? It's just learning to relax and go. And any movement of the wrist is more of a momentum. I guess just move because the momentum of the finger squeezing, not because the wrist is generating, or the wrist is not initiating the movement, okay? It's a finger that initiate that movement, okay? So once you learn how to do this, you just practice chopping vertical. You can do like big one, or you can do fast little one. And all this is of this finger, 3 finger coming this way, and the index going forward, okay? And once you learn how to do that, you just chop up without hitting the ceiling. Don't break ceiling, don't break lights either, okay? Learn to chop up here, learn to chop down here, learn to do horizontal chop. So you see, at the same time, as you can see, all I'm doing is squeezing my fingers. So as you notice right now, I'm not even learning to punch at the moment, okay? Right now, it's just purely about chopping. And this is your forehand V grip. Yes? So if you're still new to this, just worry about the forehand V grip first. Don't worry about the bevel or the pen handle. But I would love for you to practice your backhand. I call backhand flat thumb grip because, you know, if you look about this, they call this backhand thumb grip. But I don't know why they call this a bevel grip. It's still a thumb grip. Pen handle, why is it pen handle? It's still thumb grip. So I'm gonna call it, this is a flat thumb grip for backhand, okay? So your thumb go underneath here. If you have your racket flat, your thumb sits underneath that flat part of the grip. And the other 3 fingers, once again, just curl in this. Just curl around the grip. So in this case, for the backhand, you actually the other 4 finger will just softly curl around the grip like this. Now from here, you can have your racket flat if you want, or slightly angled, doesn't really matter. But essentially what you're trying to do is these 4 finger, especially these 3, will pull back while the thumb going forward. So it look like this. So you see how my thumb will push forward, but the other 3 finger at the bottom, you still want to squeeze. Okay? So if you do that together, you're going to get this. Now as you can see, the butt of the racket will hit your hand, and that is a good time for you to stop swinging. It just tells you naturally when to stop swinging. So just from here, you should be able to learn to squeeze. And you notice as well is that once that racket hit your palm, when the grip hit your palm, the racket will what I call bounce. Dong, dong. So if you watch this, see how the racket bounces a little bit? And that is a great sign that you're doing beautiful fingers power or finger squeezing, okay? So just from here, just learn to squeeze sideways, squeeze up, squeeze down. This is your drive and your smash. And even swing this way. And all that time, you see how my forearm is not going forward or anything. It's just nice and relaxed, and just let the finger does the squeezing. So I'm not going down like this, okay? Just learn to practice this at the moment. Nice and relaxed. And essentially, once you get used to this squeeze, this finger power, you can just add a little bit of forearm movement. And essentially, you're feeding a bit of kinetic chain energy from the larger muscle all the way into your fingers, and that will get you a little bit more of the explosive squeeze, right? You at home, you don't have much space to squeeze, right? So even just a little bit of movement, just feel a bit of flow of energy coming from the shoulder into the forearm, into the fingers. It will help you a lot when you get into the on court. So yeah, so you can practice this when you're watching TV, watching Netflix, and you can even do like squeeze from backhand, chop, backhand, chop. And you just learn. So this is a really good exercise because you're learning to quickly go from backhand to forehand, backhand to forehand, backhand to forehand, right? Yes, so in the V grip at the moment, I say if you're still new to this, don't worry about squaring it up yet, okay? Just learn to go backhand and chop, backhand and chop, backhand and chop, backhand and chop, or just go backhand and go as fast as you can, and just feel your finger, you know, really working, instead of going like using your whole wrist. Oh, that's painful already, okay? So if you can learn to do this at home and do it every day, I reckon you're gonna see a massive improvement when you get on court, and learning to just relax, and then boom, squeeze. It's the same as backhand. Relax, and squeeze, right? But if you're not used to this, practice these little drills at home, and I reckon you're going to see a massive improvement. Back to more painting. We're going to knock out that fireplace. It's quite old, it's broken anyway. We're going to repaint on the wall. I have to repaint the outside as well. So much work. But hopefully, after this week, I'll be able to get back into the badminton hole next week and do a lot more videos for you guys. So thank you for bearing with me. It's been a little bit slow in terms of making and editing the videos, but hopefully next week I'll be right back on track. So hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, check out more of my videos over here, and I hope it will help you a lot. Actually, what we're going to do is that if you haven't watched it already, I made a video about finger power, really popular, so please watch that. And underneath it, if you don't know how to use your V grip, there's a great video about your V grip as well, so check those two out. See you guys later. Bye bye.